All right. Thank you so much, Kim, for telling me that. All right. I didn't even know my mic was off. Thank you so much. So, as I was saying, Inga, I got a fix for you. Thank you so much for letting me know. So, as I was saying, we are going to go ahead and have a show every single day. Yeah, it's going to be starting at 12 p.m. tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. I will have my good friend and the political education on. Every other day will be basically around the same time, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I will be posting a schedule shortly over on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch for you. So be on the lookout for that. Now let's go ahead and dive into the election news. It was with the polls, how Trump is looking, and how Harris is going ahead and basically tanking her campaign. You know, you know, we're just going to go ahead and do a brief overview of what the system is looking at right now, with how everything is looking for Donald Trump right now, and seeing how well can Trump fare a lot better in different circumstances. We are also going to take a look at some of the tight races for the House and the Senate. And we'll also go ahead and have political education go deeper on that in some states as well, such as Georgia. Georgia is a big swing state for Donald Trump this election. He lost it back in 2020, but the turnout for early voting is looking great over there. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the markets real quick, particularly on Polymarket. Polymarket is a great thing to use right now. Polymarket goes ahead and shows, well, how are the betting odds in favor for each candidate in each election. And so right now we're seeing that Donald Trump is actually going to be up in the polling for the Electoral College. Trump is currently now leading 64.7 to 35.3%. This is great news for the former president heading into the election. We have had really great turnout in early voting in these swing states, particularly we're looking at Pennsylvania, where their firewall is about 400,000 for the Democrats. Back in 2020, it was 2 million. And that's also assuming that they will be voting strictly by party. Now, we all know that there are voters that do not go ahead and strictly vote by party. So we do have to take a look at that, what those demographics look like. In all honesty, it's about 1 in 5 voters that do not vote by party lines. And in swing states, it does vary a little bit more, probably like 1 in 4 do not vote strictly for the party that they are registered in. And we got our independents who will be splitting, I think, mostly for Trump. So per 100 independents, I see that they're going to be splitting about 60-40 for Trump in these swing states. So the one that I really want to talk about right now is Michigan. Over here in the political markets, they have Trump up 54% to Harris with 46%. Michigan is most likely going to be the most liberal swing state this cycle. It usually belongs to Wisconsin, but right now I'm saying Michigan's going to go ahead and be the most liberal. Well, all that Trump has to do is that he has to win the Sun Belt and just pick up one of the 3 blue wall states. It's if he also picks up Nevada. Trump has a very good chance of picking up Wisconsin this election cycle as well. Well, as we can see here, he is up 57% and to Harris's 43%. And in Pennsylvania, the talks of the town of this election, Trump is up 60% to 40% in the betting odds. Now, if we also take a look at Arizona, because some people will say, hey, what about Arizona? Let's see Arizona. Well, Arizona is basically a lock for Trump now at 73%. And we can basically say the same for Nevada at 65%. Georgia now is also a lock for Donald Trump in the betting markets, as well as North Carolina. The only things that we have to be looking at is potentially some states that I think are going to be a lot closer than people are going to be saying. I see that we're going to say Virginia will go less than 5 points to Kamala Harris. The betting markets now have Virginia, however, 83-17 for Kamala Harris, but that is all going to change shortly, and here's why. Yeah, as we all know, Donald Trump was on Joe Rogan the other day. Yeah, and I personally haven't listened to all of it yet, but it is already getting so much traction. We have 10 million views in just the last 24 hours already. Yeah, this right here is going to change a lot of minds in Virginia. However, Trump will not go ahead and contain the little blue wall in Northern Virginia. He is going to have trouble overpowering that. Thus, Virginia will ultimately go to Harris, but it will only be around 3 to 5%. Virginia will be in play for the Republicans during the 2026 midterms, and in 2028, Virginia will be a swing state. This is just people that are not talking about it. I don't know why, but Virginia is going to be a swing state in 2028 and will most likely go to the right again for the first time since 2004 when George W. Bush was elected. When Trump wins, does the VP Harris have to certify the vote? So what they have done in Congress is that the vice president now, when it comes to certifying the election, is more of a ceremonial thing. It's now officially Congress that goes ahead and certifies the election according to the votes. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the real clear politics polling for Donald Trump. We all see how the betting markets are faring out for him, but let's go ahead and bring this up. So according to the RCP that we got right here. So Trump has officially overtaken Kamala Harris in the national polling. Let's go ahead and then get this up. Hopefully it stops geeking out on me. Now Trump is also up in all the battle states that we have been talking about. Trump is in a tremendous place when it comes to November 5th. Now, they say that we're not going to go ahead and know who the president's going to be in the next few days after the fact, but I am calling it right here. We are going to know on election night that Donald J. Trump will be president of the United States. Georgia has already said that their election they will go ahead, have the votes in by midnight. Well, they will declare a winner. Right now, Donald Trump is up by almost a percentage point in the Real Clear Politics polling in the battlegrounds. Now, if we go ahead and we look at the national polling, Trump is also going to be up in that, but it won't be as a big margin. No. Trump is I believe he's within 0.3% with Kamala Harris. But let's also take a look at the Real Clear Politics when it goes to our toss-ups and battlegrounds. So as of right now, if the election were held today, Donald Trump would go ahead and be president of the United States. This is with no toss-ups, as we can see here. With the RCP Electoral College map, they have Donald Trump winning 312 to 226. I also have Donald Trump winning by this number. I've been saying for the longest time, ever since this election has started, even when it was Joe Biden versus Trump, that Trump was going to win north of 300 votes. Arizona is going to be red once again, same with Georgia. North Carolina will stay red. North Carolina, he will go ahead and build on his lead, because with North Carolina, what it does is that it gives you an idea of how far the country is going to go. If North Carolina goes ahead and goes to Trump about 1 to 2% more than it did the last election, Donald Trump wins. This is all just indicators of who's going to end up winning the election. Now, I want to talk about the state of New York. The state of New York, I believe, will go to Kamala Harris, but it will be less than 10%. If Donald Trump is winning, is only trailing in New York by 10% or less by the time election day comes, and even when the vote is certified and counted, Trump is president of the United States. But now let's go ahead and see if we can bring up what we really want to talk about now, and that is who is going to have control of the Senate and the House. Now, with Jersey, Krabby Turtle is asking, I do not have that much information on New Jersey. New Jersey will be going ahead and going to Kamala Harris, but I also believe it will be by a likely margin. It's going to be more competitive than it has been any election cycle, and it will end up being a swing state by 2032, 2034. New Jersey has been going farther to the right, and this is being seen every single year when they're having their elections for the state. Now let's go ahead and bring. So now I want to go ahead and let's talk about the Senate races. Let's particularly talk about the one in Pennsylvania that's going on right now. Oh. All right. So according to Real Clear Politics, this is where Dave McCormick is at. Dave McCormick has been gaining a lot of traction lately when it comes to the Senate race. McCormick, we could see potentially getting pushed over the line with Donald J. Trump. Bob Casey is only leading him by the RCP average of 1.6%. But as we can see here, the 4% is from two very left-leaning groups. Oops. This right here indicates that McCormick is now officially neck and neck to Bob Casey. Trump may be able to get McCormick over the finish line in Pennsylvania. And quite frankly, I am excited to see what is going to happen there. Sure. Now let's see what the poly market has with Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, they have Casey going ahead and beating McCormick. Casey has a 69% to McCormick's 31%. And this right here, what I am calling is an upset. We are most likely going to see McCormick potentially getting pushed over the edge by Donald Trump. I do not expect a lot of split ticket ballots in this upcoming election when it comes to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvanians, they really want that pipeline, and they want all the stuff that Donald Trump has been talking about. But David McCormick has also gained a lot of traction in the last recent few weeks, and with Bob Casey going ahead and falling flat on his face when it comes to a lot of the stuff. It's honestly hilarious seeing Casey fall flat on his face as an incumbent. Now, let's go ahead and look at our other races that are going on. And I want to also talk about the state of Ohio coming up. So right now they got Brown going ahead and leading the RCP average at 1.0, but Moreno is going to be pulled over the edge by Donald J. Trump. Ohio, I am calling a lock for the Republicans in the Senate. RCP, sorry, not RCP. Poly market has also got 60% for Moreno and 40% for Brown. Now, I do want to talk about a race that has been a talk of the town for people in the political world, which personally, I do not know why. Hey, that is Larry Hogan against Sarah Brooks. Larry Hogan is getting his ass kicked in the state of Maryland, even though he is his the former governor of the state. Now, I do want to point out that Governor Hogan did win by a tremendous margin in the primaries. However, the Republicans in Maryland would be in a better situation if Governor Hogan was not the candidate this cycle. Now let's go ahead and let's look at Texas. Texas is now also a battleground that the Dems are really trying to flip, but I do not see that happening. Now, yes, in the most recent polling, it had Cruz only up by 1%, but that is according to the Hill and Emerson polling, which is also a very left-wing polling. Right here, as we can see, back in September and early October, they had the New York Times Siena poll, which had Cruz up by 4%, which most likely I see Cruz winning anywhere from 4 to 7%, and he will be reelected as senator. Now, the state of Wisconsin. Hoved, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Baldwin. So the state of Wisconsin could actually go either way. It can go either way. However, if Trump wins the state of Wisconsin, you will see a red senator there. According to the RCP polling, I think Baldwin is only up by 0.8%, but that is only because of the Trafalgar group. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sorry, not Trafalgar group. Atlas Intel. Because Atlas Intel with a 3%. They are more neck and neck than ever right now, and you could potentially see this going either way, and this could actually affect who will have control of the Senate. Now, the state of Montana. The state of Montana, it was supposed to be a really contested race where people are saying, well, Tesla's going to go ahead and win easily. The only problem with that is that Tesla is very unlikable in the state of Montana, and Montanans have officially casted him out. According to the New York Times Siena polling, Sheehy is up by 8 points. I see Sheehy winning anywhere between 5 to 10 points in this upcoming election cycle. He may even win by a lot more in the state of Montana. Now in Arizona. Now with Arizona, Kari Lake has been running a terrible campaign. She has been running one of the worst campaigns in Arizona history, which is very unfortunate. I like Kari Lake, but unfortunately, Ruben Gallego will be the next senator of Arizona. Arizona will have a lot more split ticket votes, and unfortunately, Gallego will be our senator in the state of Arizona. But let's now go ahead. Let's see if we can find any information on the House. The House, I have been going Republican just by a little bit, in all honesty. The House will probably will probably pick up a few seats in the House, but it's not going to be a super majority. When you're once again going to have a slim majority in the House, unfortunately, and there will not be a Republican representing the state of Maryland other than one that we currently have. There will not be a seat flip in the state of Maryland like some people are saying. Maryland will still only have one Republican in it. Let's go ahead. Now, people like to say that the race in Maryland is really close, but there is no recent polling in the state of Maryland for District 6. So let's go ahead and find that out right now if we can go ahead. All right. So now this is the most recent poll that we got for How's Michigan looking? Michigan is looking pretty good for the Republicans. And I do have Michigan going either way. Yeah, it all depends on how well Trump does in Michigan. And unfortunately, yeah, it could go either way. It is a true toss up in the Senate. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring up Maryland's District 6, it has been a talk about a potential seat flip in the political atmosphere for a while here. And the most recent polling is only from September. Now, it is at a 2% difference in favor of Neil Parrott, but Delaney will ultimately win in District 6. Now, this is also just by a sample size of 317 people, so go ahead and take that with a grain of salt. Maryland is a state that is completely lost, and unfortunately, there is no time that it will actually flip some more seats in the federal elections. Now let's go ahead and take a look at all the other polls in here. South Dakota, we got a lock for Johnson and over Johnson. So that is always good right there. Let's go ahead and see what we get. But I do want to talk about, we have about 4 seats that I see us picking up in the national election for the House. Republicans will probably pick up about 4 seats. Unfortunately, that will not be enough for a supermajority, and they will still have to make some deals with the Democrats, but it won't be as much. The Republicans will also win the Senate by a slim margin. I'm saying we're going to have a 52 majority. But regardless, if it's a 50-50 split again, and if Donald Trump wins, we will be fine, because J.D. Vance will be the tie-breaking vote. And we will still have another Republican taking up J.D.'s term. Now, the person that I think is probably going to end up taking a seat is Vivek. Vivek will end up taking that seat. I don't have anyone else that I'm looking at this time. But Vivek will be the interim senator of Ohio after Trump and JD win in November. Remember, y'all, we are just 10 days away from this election cycle. Now, yes, so it does get... So when there is an interim, when someone does end up going into higher office or dies, it does get appointed by the governor, including in Ohio. What will probably happen is that they will have a special election in 2026 during the midterms, if anything happens there. So be on the lookout for a special election in 2026 in the state of Ohio. But yes, he will be appointed by the Ohio governor. All right. And that one you could also see by going to anyone that is in the House, also, or anyone else in the Senate in the state of Ohio. The reason why I have Mike DeWine picking Vivek, Krabby Turtle, is because, well, Vivek is a popular person in the state of Ohio and nationally, and it will save his back with the voters. So he's trying to give himself a legacy on that, to where he can say that, hey, I helped Ohio. But get ready, there could be some upsets with that pick. Now, I just want to mention one more time that we do have a live show tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. Political Education will be joining me. We will be talking about the state of the race in Georgia and in Pennsylvania and seeing what Trump needs to do to win the other swing states. Now, I do want to talk about how the effects of Trump actually going on Joe Rogan last night, it is really good for him. Now, during this time, a lot of people have their minds made up. All right. The American people like to go based off of 2 weeks. And while the good news is for President Trump, he has been up in the markets for about 2 weeks. Donald Trump is also getting ready to potentially actually win the popular vote. This will be the first time that a Republican has won the popular vote since 2004, but do not count on Trump winning the popular vote. In all honesty, do not count on it. But if he does, he is definitely the president of the United States. There are some swing voters in Pennsylvania that he's going to be easily picking up on. And the Amish are actually allowed to vote this election cycle. So the Amish are going to be voting overwhelmingly for Trump. And that, I think, might put him over the edge in some of these swing states. And with Kamala's going ahead and saying, I think you're at the wrong rally, when someone said Jesus is Lord, has upset the Catholics in Pennsylvania. For those of you that do not know, the voters in Pennsylvania, 1/4 of them are Catholic. And guess what? That is enough to sway the election right there. Get ready. On November 5th, I am predicting Pennsylvania will be called by 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. on November 6th. So get ready. Donald Trump is in a great position right now. And well, personally, I cannot wait. We're going to make America great again in the next 10 days. And well, I think we can all agree that it is going to happen. And now, I also want to talk about how the stock market is actually getting ready for Donald Trump to win. The stock market is going to be going up in just a few days, actually. They're going to be anticipating a Trump win, which will go ahead and bring up the stock market. So if you have stocks right now, or you don't have any, invest in more. Go ahead, buy some stuff in oil, and you will be paid off hugely. Because remember, we're going to drill, baby, drill, as soon as Donald Trump is elected. You're also going to be seeing a lot of American manufacturers get their stocks going up as soon as Trump wins, because he will be putting on the tariffs even more on these countries. You're going to have a lot more American-made stuff, which will bring your stocks up. So get ready for that. Now, like I said, this was going to be a short show. The longer one will be tomorrow with Political Education, where we go more in depth into everything. That is at 12 p.m. Eastern, and I look forward to seeing you guys there. But real quick, we are going to leave off with our historical quote. And you know what? Let's make it by Donald Trump. All right. All right, this is by President Donald J. Trump. No dream is too big. No challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. No dream is too big. No challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. That is President Donald J. Trump, who will soon be the 47th president of the United States. Thank you all so much, and God bless.